Hi, welcome to a new episode of Hallmark Heartbeats, a podcast all about Hallmark movies. And this week I am again joined by my friend Kayla. We are talking Christmas movies. And for this podcast, the two Christmas movies that we are talking about are Open by Christmas, starring Allison Sweeney, Brennan, Elliot, and Erica Durance, as well as My Christmas Family Tree, which stars Aimee Teagarden, Andrew Walker, and James Tupper. How did you like those two movies?
Open by Christmas was a bore. I was so bored. I was like, no. This movie, I think the plot line with her friend and everything was more entertaining than the actual plot line of the Christmas card.
I 100% agree. I was like, I just feel like the lead storyline should have been her best friend and her fiance, her best friend Simone and Jeremy, her fiance, and Anthony. Those three should have been the leads, not Allison and Brennan. Because honestly, I feel like they were only leads because of their names. Their plot line was like B plot line. It wasn't even in the, there was more time. There was more time in the movie with Simone and Jeremy and Anthony than there was of Brennan and Allison. And considering how hyped up and how much promotion this movie got, it was boring. Yeah, I definitely think that the lead should have been Erica Durance and
Michael Carl Richards. Yes.
Yeah, I honestly thought that Erica Durance and Michael Carl Richards would have been a better lead for this movie. Allison and Brennan was only lead by name, not by storyline and not by airtime either. But anyway, yeah. And then so my family Christmas tree was good. I have to say it was good.
It was good. Yeah, I liked it too. It was like a little slow in places, but the ending really saved it for me.
I was like, I know people are telling me that I'm overthinking the whole DNA thing, but considering that was pretty much the whole premise of the movie.
Yeah. Well, see, I think they could have done without I think part of the plot fell apart where they said that DNA was wrong or whatever. They could have done without that part of the plot line and the movie would have worked.
Exactly. I mean, why even introduce that without any kind of conclusion kind of thing? I mean, it's like, she's his daughter, but what was the mistake? The person said that there was a mix-up. So the mix-up wasn't that she's his daughter. So what was the mix-up? Like, come on. You literally introduced that plot point halfway through the movie and then left us hanging.
Yeah, they didn't even finalize the plot line. Like, they just said, oh, here's a picture of her mom. Yeah, she really is his daughter. I'm like, hello, I thought that was your premise of they could have done without that part of the plot line. The movie would have worked.
I jokingly said that someone should have called Maury. Hey Maury, we're having these DNA test thingamajigs, and we need you to tell us who the real father is. But somebody said Maury does not belong in Hallmark. I'm like, hey, if you guys are going to talk about DNA stories, somebody got to call Maury. Maury has to be included.
But the dog in the movie reminded me of my Bridget. I had a dog. For those of you who didn't follow us on the Resident Rule Breakers, I had a dog named Bridget, and she was half Yorkie, and this dog looked almost like Mickey. Like, there's a picture of her on my Instagram. KB Country 37 of Bridget, and in the Santa hat and everything. she wore clothes, but Bridget passed away this past July, and so a lot of emotions seeing the dog. And I texted my dad, I said, this dog in this movie reminds me of Bridget, and he just was like, oh.
But yeah, so anyway, let's start first with Open by Christmas. Open by Christmas. It's the okay, so Allison plays Nicole. She goes home, finds out that her parents are gonna sell their home because they're both retiring now. She was there only for Thanksgiving at first, but her mom was like, hey, stay all throughout Christmas, right? And she was like, well, I was only planning for to stay for a couple of days, and didn't know you wanted us to stay for the whole month. And I put that on my notes, like, what is her job that she can stay away from for a whole month?
I know, right? Like, I get 2 days at Thanksgiving and maybe 3 at Christmas, and that's the legit of how many days I get off at these holidays, okay?
Yeah, but can I have your job?
Seriously.
Maybe
she's working from home. I have no idea. Maybe she
didn't work at all throughout the movie.
I know. I'm just confused. I mean, unless she has that much paid time off and she's using it, I have no idea.
For a whole month. From Thanksgiving to Christmas. That's 5 weeks? 4 or 5 weeks, depending on when Thanksgiving is. Anyway, she plays Nicole, and so her parents are moving, and they hire a real estate agent, who is Derek, played by Brennan and Elliot, and there's more link to him, but. Nicole's best friend is Simone, who is newly engaged to Jeremy, played by Michael Carl Richards. And she has a son named Anthony from a previous relationship. And I have to tell you, Jeremy, totally is the sweetest guy. He's so sweet. He's really, I guess Anthony's dad, left the family or whatever. Mm-hmm. They only mentioned him once, but for this, when they were unpacking Christmas ornaments or whatever. And Anthony's dad walked out on the family. And when Jeremy proposed to Simone, one thing that Anthony was worried about was that he was going to walk out on them like his dad did. But Jeremy is totally taking on the dad role. He is taking the boy to basketball games and, playing one-on-one with him and giving him pointers and everything. And it's just the sweetest relationship ever.
Because when you are in a relationship with someone who has a child, you are in a relationship with that child too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, I have a step parent, so I get it. I was the child that needed a mom. So Simone has this dream house that she makes Jeremy drive by every time they're close to the house or whatever. Mm-hmm. And Jeremy buys the house as a surprise Christmas present for Simone. And that is just the sweetest thing. Dude, just dropped all that money to buy her dream home. And then they make it, because it's right there at Christmas, they put the tree up and they decorate the fireplace and everything. I thought that's beautiful. That's perfect,
Yeah, but see, the thing about it is keeping it all secret from Simone makes her feel left out. So what is so cool is that even though there's Simone and her mother-in-law she was kind of terrified of being alone with her mother-in-law because she thought that her mother-in-law didn't like her. So they actually got close or whatever while the mother-in-law was there, and the mother-in-law called out Jeremy. It was like, look, you can't just keep. Does the house need to really be fully decorated, or is it going to be less surprise? Is it going to be less of a surprise or whatever if if it's not decorated? You know what I mean? Because Jeremy is 15, and this is
Anthony. Anthony was 15.
I'm sorry, Anthony's 15. And this is the thing that kept getting on my nerves, is she kept saying that I have 3 more years with him before he leaves or whatever. So I'm like, what do you expect from him at 18, to forget you and never come back?
Okay. Both of us are pretty close to at least one parent. And still talk to them daily. Okay. Yeah. You don't forget your parent, okay?
Yeah,
you don't just randomly leave and never talk to them again at 18.
Yeah, I mean, like at 18 years old, like what did you expect him to do? Move out of your house and never come back ever? Why do you keep saying you have 3 more years with him? Do you expect him to die at 18?
Because he's 18. I mean, yeah, he's gonna go off and have his own life, go to college, whatever, but he's still not gonna forget Mom.
My God, when I went to college, I came home for Christmas.
I came home every weekend because the college was right across town.
Yeah.
My dad worked at the university, so I saw him pretty much every day.
Yeah.
But then I would go home. I lived in the dorm, and then I would go home on the weekend to do my laundry.
So newsflash to you parents of 15-year-olds or teenagers who are in high school, and you guys are like worried that your kids are gonna leave and never come back when they're 18. That is likely never gonna happen.
I lived at home all the way through my 20s.
So like don't worry. You don't start thinking to your head like, I only have 3 more years with them. Like, what are you talking about? Unless the kid is dying and somehow or another you have some kind of like, fortune telling abilities to tell you when your kid dies, you have more than 3 years with them. Anyway, that was my big complaint with like Simone. I was like, why do you keep having on these 3 years? But anyway, so Nicole also, this is like her storyline, which really bored the heck out of me, and this is why I think she should not have had the lead. Nicole, like, was helping her mom pack up her stuff or whatever, and they were looking through her high school awards because I guess she's a math elite and stuff, and she looked through her calculus book and found an old Christmas card that somebody left in their Christmas card. Didn't sign it or anything, but quoted Romeo and Juliet. Don't tell me what. Don't ask me.
Hey, Romeo and Juliet's not a love story. It's a tragedy of epic proportions, so it's not even romantic. But anyway.
Yeah, people seem to forget that. It's about like this 2 teenagers whose families are feuding, and like they die. They commit suicide pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. It's not happy by any means.
Why do people think that is like a romantic story?
It's not romantic, no.
But anyway, so the card was left like in her junior year in high school or whatever, and the few hints that it had was the person who wrote it was left-handed, and that what's her name? Nicole, them good luck on some kind of game against Mount Pleasant, right?
Or Mountain Point or whatever it is. Yeah, whatever.
Point Mount Pleasant. Somebody. And so anyway, Simone and Nicole assumed that it was a basketball team player. So they kind of look through the yearbook to see which basketball player it could be or whatever. And she goes to some of the guys who were on the team and kind of ask them about this Christmas card, and they all look at her like it wasn't me. It was hilarious though, because my favorite part of that whole sequence was when she approached one guy and he turned out to be gay. She was like, "Oh, so you were not the one who wrote the card?" And he was like, "Well, if your name wasn't Jeremy." Jeffrey. But that was it. Anyway, come to find out, Jeremy was the one who wrote the card, but he wasn't the one who wrote it to some Nicole, which that whole thing was so confusing. He said he wrote it for a friend because his handwriting sucked or whatever, and then refused to tell the girl who the guy is because he kept a promise. He kept a promise like what, 20 plus years ago.
At this point, just tell. She hadn't seen, she never saw the card until that point, so she didn't even know it existed.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there going like, this goes back to Christmas in Harmony. Remember, like the mom kept a promise to the dad all these years to not tell the daughter what the dad did. And I'm sitting there going like, are y'all planning on keeping these promises till death do your part or something? Like what?
It's not a wedding vow.
Beyond death.
It's not a wedding vow. Come on. It's not a vow you give to a spouse in front of the Lord and everybody else. And those vows are
Harmony proves that they were planning on keeping the secret past death.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I mean, like, what the heck is going on with Hallmark and these actors? But like, I'm sorry, dude. But so anyway. Derek is sold Jeremy the dream house, and he's also selling. He's also finding Nicole's parents a new place. He's pretty much the only real estate agent in that whole town. It feels like.
I mean, I live in a pretty small town, and there's quite a few real estate agents in this town. So
but it feels like he's the only one because like he's like, I know this person because I sold their house or I helped them with their business or something. So anyway, the only reason why Nicole found out about the house that Jeremy bought is because her parents were looking at Jeremy's old place as a possible place to move to. But Jeremy can't move out of his place yet till after Christmas when they move to the new house. It's confusing. So anyway, but yeah, Derek found out about the card because I guess they were at a Christmas concert or something, and Nicole dropped the card, and he was like, "Oh, what is this?" and whatever, and like was putting out card. Anyway, yeah. So long story short, Derek was the one who had a crush on Nicole, and he was not part of the basketball team. He was part of the speech and debate team. And Nicole like wished him good luck 22 years ago or whatever. And they have a crush on each other, and I guess they like each other now. I am so good. That storyline was when Allison and Brennan just did not catch my attention. I did not like it.
I was like, this is boring. The other storyline definitely had more premise for the movie, and I think because Christmas is about family, so I think that they should have just done that, and dealing with family and everything.
I think that they made it a mystery, quote unquote, because it's not really a mystery, because Allison and Brennan have their own mystery series on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries called Hannah Swenson and Crossword Mysteries. So they were like trying to use their fame, I guess, for that, but it was boring.
Yeah.
And I wasn't invested in their love story. I didn't care. Like, the funny part was her, like, trying to ask these guys if it was them. That was funny, but that was it. There was like nothing. And then, but yeah, I was more invested in Jeremy, Simone, and Anthony. I thought that was a cute storyline with them. I loved how, like I said, Jeremy stepped up as the dad for Anthony, and I loved how, like, Jeremy's mom also was the one who, like, told him, "Hey, look, you're isolating Simone. This is family time. This is Christmas. This is the time for you to be together. And I get it. You're fixing up the house, but at the expense of being with your family, being with the love of your life and stuff like that." So if there's a sequence, I would just like it to be concentrated on them, because I do not care about Derek and Nicole.
Neither do I.
Yeah. Okay, so how many stars would you give that movie?
Like a 1.5. It was horrible. I hated this movie. I hate to say that, because I just hate it.
I would give it 2 stars. Shoot, I actually liked the I liked the storyline of Jeremy.
No, I agree with you on that. It just, most of it was just overshadowed by this other storyline that I could care less about. Yes. And yeah.
How about enough of it? I honestly think that they use Allison and Brennan as the names. You know what I mean? That's
name recognition. Yeah.
Because they were not the stars of this movie.
Yeah, you gotta give it to Erica Durance. She really did a good job.
I know. She was on Smallville, Saving Hope, and what other? Yeah, I was looking through her IMDb, so she's 43. I did not know she doesn't even look 43.
No.
She looks good for her age.
And at first, like, because I hadn't looked at the IMDb page for this movie before, I knew Allison Sweeney was in it. And that's pretty much all I knew about this movie when I went into watching it. And then I was like, I recognize this one. And then I saw the IMDb page. And I was like, I know who she is now.
Yeah. So, I hope that Erica actually has her own movie next time, where she's the lead, where she's number 1, not number 2. Or number 3, or whatever she is. I wouldn't even give Brennan number 2 in this movie. I know Allison was number 1, but I wouldn't even give Brennan number 2. Anyway, I'd give this one at least 2 stars. Okay, so the next movie that we are talking about is My Christmas Family Tree, starring Aimee Teagarden, Andrew Walker, and James Tupper. Aimee Teagarden plays the character of Vanessa Hall. She grew up. Her mom died at a young age, when she was like 9 years old, I believe was what she said. The closest family that she had was her grandparents, who were in like care homes or whatever. So she was put into foster care until she aged out at 18. So she didn't know who her biological father was all this time. She took a DNA test, just to see if she has any family out there, I guess, and came back to a paternal match, and she was matched with Richard Hendricks, played by James Tupper. He's a 50-year-old veteran kind of thing, and they meet and stuff. He didn't know he had a daughter either.
No.
Because, like, from what he understood, because he met Vanessa's mom, Trish, from just before he deployed. And then when he came back from deployment, she was gone. He never heard from him. And even though he tried to look for her in a small area, Providence, unless like there's another Providence, Rhode Island is pretty small, so he wasn't looking that hard.
No. and of course, this is the day and age where social media doesn't exist.
Yeah,
so a little bit more difficult to find someone.
Yeah. So then, anyway, he goes and so it was funny though. It was funny though because he was putting up lights and Christmas decorations or whatever. When he got the text that I'm your daughter, he goes and falls off the ladder. I was like, not exactly the right time to get that text that I am your daughter or you're my father or whatever. But anyway, so they meet and it's kind of cute. They have like, oh hi, how are you kind of thing. Richard invites Vanessa over for Christmas. He has a wife and 3 kids. His wife's name is Pauline. 3 kids are Caitlin, Aiden, and Amelia. He invites Vanessa home to spend Christmas with the family and stuff. She's like, she lives in New York. He lives in Connecticut. She was like, I don't have a car and I have a dog. He was like, oh, I have a family friend that can come pick you up and you guys can drive together to Connecticut or whatever. And the family friend is Christopher, played by Andrew Walker. So anyway, but Christopher's dad also is a vet, and he said that Richard and his dad worked together, and his dad also credited Richard for saving his life. But anyway, the dog's name is Mickey. It's like a Yorkshire Terrier mix.
Yep. Reminds me of my Bridget.
Yep.
It was pretty much, she was half Yorkie, half Chihuahua, but she looked like a Yorkie.
Yeah. So. And so also I want to talk about, there is a small sighting for that lasted 10 seconds of another Hallmark star, Tyler Hines, in the movie. He was the guy who gave them coffee and when they went and stopped at the But anyway, at first the kids were like, I don't know this girl. How are we related? She's my sister and everything else. And they were like apprehensive about it. I love the little speech that Pauline gave about like she doesn't care about halves, your sisters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like in my family. We're so blended. I don't have a biological sibling. But I have, when you hear me say sister, she's my stepsister, but to me, she's not my stepsister. She's my sister.
Yeah.
So blood or not, we're still siblings. That's the way I see it. So.
Yep, I 100% agree. And I mean, my foster parents are the same way. I call them mom and dad, and my brother, and my sister as well. So the only reason why I say foster is to kind of distinct them from my biological family.
Yeah, see, like I have a bio mom, and I still see my bio mom, but my stepmother, who I call mom, by the way, is more of my mom. So
yeah. So anyway, over time, Vanessa gets close with her siblings. I mean, she takes one of them shopping for a dance recital dancing dress, that kind of thing. The younger sister, Amelia, took more time, but she had a solo coming up at a Christmas pageant to sing Away in a Manger, and like Vanessa kind of helped her get over stage fright, and the little boy was won over because of the dog.
Yeah, I mean the dog was cute. I don't blame him. He was adorable.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is where the DNA company calls and tells her, your results have been mixed up with another Vanessa Hall and stuff like that. They did not, the voicemail, I watched the movie again this morning and wanting to listen specifically to what the voicemail was saying, right? What the voice was saying. They never said exactly what was the mix-up. They just said your results were mixed up with another Vanessa Hall, which Vanessa then assumed, and I think rightfully so, because I mean, like, there's no what other mix-up could there be, right? Mm-hmm. Is that she's not related to this family, so like. She spends she stays there till Christmas Eve, and Christmas Eve is when she's introduced to the rest of the family, including the grandmother, cousins, aunts, nephews, brothers, sisters, whatever.
Everyone. Let's just put it like the whole extended family.
Yeah, it looked like 30, 40 people in that house.
I have memories of that when I go to see my bio mom's family. Yeah, that family is huge. So yeah.
And so then he goes, and so then as they taking family pictures, she drops the bomb that she's not related to any of them or whatever. And so then her best friend Dee Dee picks her up, and they go back home to New York, and the kids are confused, like, I don't care if she's related to us or not. She doesn't have anybody for Christmas. Why not just have her come? And I feel like the kids have a better understanding of this than the adults. Because, like, I mean, they didn't kick her out. They did not kick Vanessa out.
No.
They were not telling her, you need to leave because you're not related. They never ever thought in their minds that anything bad or anything like that, which I think is a testament to the family, because they could have easily thought that, you just came, you knew all this time, and you're like trying to like a fraud or whatever. So, some crazy stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they never, she left on her own kind of thing. But the kids were like, let her stay, let her come back. We don't care if she's related to us or not. She's our sister. And I'm like, oh, that is so sweet. But anyway, Chris goes, also it's like, well, we're jumping around here, but Chris has developed feelings also for Vanessa. But and what's that? The weirdest part is he goes and asks Richard if he's allowed to date her or whatever. So I'm like it's not I understand marriage, but you're not even there. You're asking him for his thoughts on dating. Like, isn't
that's some old-fashioned stuff there. That's it's not up to the parents who you date. I understand. I'm with you on that. The asking marriage thing. Marriage is a different program. But yeah.
Anyway, so he goes, but like after Vanessa leaves, he's like, okay, so what happens now? We're like together, with us or whatever. So Richard just like, dude, this doesn't affect you and Vanessa. We can see that you guys have feelings for each other. Go to her or whatever. And so Christopher did. But then Richard goes through the shoe boxes of pictures for Vanessa's mom, and he finds one picture of this woman that looks exactly like Vanessa. He flips over the card and it says Patricia Hall or whatever. And this dude, the guy is so hilarious. He knew the girl. He knew Vanessa's mom was Patty. She knew him. Vanessa knew her as Trish. It only took me like 2 seconds to realize her name, the mother's name must be Patricia then. But it took the guy like the whole movie to get that. And she was like, and she showed the picture to his family like, oh, look, she looks exactly like Vanessa. And so they go to New York and they sing carols outside of her window or whatever. And she's like, what are you doing here? And she shows him the picture and he shows her the picture. It's like, and she's like, yeah, that's my mom. And they realize that they're father and daughter or whatever. And happily ever after. Chris also comes and they kiss. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much the storyline. And this is where we talked about this already, but what the heck is up with the DNA stuff?
Like, I get doing the DNA test, but we swapped your records. This might not. No, that plot line. I know they needed to add some drama in there somewhere, but they could have done it in a different way.
If they had, I don't mind so much. Oh, there's a mix-up or whatever. If they had kept that storyline, I would have been okay with her not being related to them, but them saying you're still family anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's within the character that they've developed for this family, and of like, who cares about blood, your family, etc., right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, like I would have been okay with him not even having found the picture of her mom and like just going to her house and be like, hey, look.
And saying, hey, look, you don't care about blood. You're family to us or whatever. Yeah. But like the storyline kind of fell apart when they said, oh, no, she is his daughter after all. Yeah. Then what's the point of the mix up?
Yeah. What is the mix up then?
Yeah.
What mix up is there?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Someone said to me that they mixed up the nationalities because she's Norwegian and when they did the DNA test or whatever, Norway wasn't listed as one of the countries. And I'm sitting there going, okay, but
they actually say in the movie they mixed her up with another person that had the same name.
Yeah, and also like, so the nationalities are based on her DNA, which we later found out is matched with him. So how is the nationalities the mix up and not the DNA part?
Yeah. And by the way, guys, there's like if you're from Europe, like myself, you have so many nationalities mixed in with everything because of the fact that there's so many so much breeding from other countries that you're just from so many different countries at that point that you can't tell which one's which at that point. So sorry, guys.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, I'm part German, part British, part Irish, part Swiss. So yeah, come on, guys. I don't even know.
It's the whole European continent.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would have been just happy with either there was no DNA mix-up or anything like that at all, or B, if there was no DNA mix-up and he just goes there and says, "You're my daughter anyway. Who cares?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I agree.
Now we're just sitting here going, "What's the mix-up? What happened?" Like, yay, they're family and they get happy ending, but what the hell happened with the DNA? So, but anyway, how many stars would you give this one?
I'll give it like a 3.5.
Yeah, why?
Mainly because of the part of the plot line that really fell apart. Otherwise, it was a good story, had good chemistry, good acting, and enjoyable. The dog was adorable. Hey.
I also give it like 3.5 stars, mostly because I love Aimee. Aimee is such a great actress, and I did like the family storyline. The kids were cute. Andrew is a good actor or whatever, but I hate that DNA storyline. I get they're trying to make it like try new storylines here, but that was just like a big drop off.
Yeah, it fell through on that part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, cool. So that's it for this podcast. This is actually pretty short. The next week is gonna be busy for both of us. We'll be dropping another podcast in a couple of days, which will be about a holiday in Harlem and one December night. Y'all, like, one December night had me crying.
One December night, like, I thoroughly enjoyed that movie, and we'll get more into it in the next podcast, but like, good movie.
Oh my god, like that was so good. And like I never
Holiday in Harlem was fantastic.
Holiday in Harlem was awesome. But I like now I want some macaroni and cheese. I'm not gonna be satisfied.
The Southern style macaroni and cheese that I like, seriously, it makes me want to ask my stepmother when she gets the time to make it. And I'm not gonna get it next week because we're eating takeout.
Well, my question to you is: do you put?
I'll get it for Christmas.
Do you put a crunchy top on your macaroni and cheese?
You just put cheese on top.
Like I was talking when they were doing the macaroni and cheese scene, I was like, I hope do they have crunchy top on their macaroni and cheese? And someone said no. I'm like, why? Everybody has crunchy tops on their macaroni.
You can cook it so the cheese like starts like burning.
Yeah.
Like that's what my stepmother does.
She's like, black people don't put crunchy top on their mac and cheese. I'm like, it looked like it was a crunchy top on that mac and cheese. But anyway, yes, Holiday in Harlem was awesome. But seriously, y'all, by the end of that movie, I wanted some macaroni and cheese.
My favorite food, and my stepmother knows it's one of the only things I'll eat Thanksgiving. That and her dressing.
It's so funny because the scene where like Olivia Washington, like all of the people were lined up giving them dishes of food all over Twitter. There were people like, nobody's gonna sit out on the stoop in the middle of winter in New York for people to give them food. I'm like, who you talking to? I would. Like all that food, I would totally be there eating it. I'd be there. I'd have a table in front of me with a knife and a fork ready to eat.
I mean, yeah, it's cold, but if you're from New York, you're used to the cold, so you're used to dealing with it. Yeah.
Anyway, so that is later on this week, and then the big podcast that's coming up also that we're going to be doing on Wednesday is with Nikki DeLoach. I'm so excited about that one.
Yeah, we got a confirmed interview with Nikki for her movie that will air on, was it Saturday night? Saturday night. We've already seen it. 5 more minutes.
Yeah. I've seen it like 3 times.
I want to rewatch it so bad. I just don't have time right now. But it's really good. We can't say more than that right now.
I watched it with my mother, and I was expecting my mother to cry, and she's just sitting there going, "What happened? Who's that?" Wait, I'm sitting there going.
And the song for that movie is based off Scotty McGrew, who won American Idol.
Yep.
He's a country singer from North Carolina, where they based his movie, actually.
Yeah.
He's from North Carolina, so he's a Carolina boy.
His grandfather. He wrote it about his grandfather.
Yep. So
we're gonna be talking to Nikki on Wednesday, which is fun. For those who don't know, Nikki's dad passed away earlier this year, so
we mentioned that when we watched Taking the Reins.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about that impact also as well on this movie. But also we're likely gonna be talking to her again in December because she wrote a movie that comes out December 18th called Christmas for Keeps, and her writing partner also wrote Taking the Reins, and I interviewed her with Taking the Reins. Me and her writing partner have been talking about talking again together for Christmas for Keeps. So this is going to be the first of 2 interviews with Nikki, knock on wood, this year. Anyway, we have so much stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks. We're not even done yet.
I mean, remember, next week is Thanksgiving, and there are
6 movies.
Yes.
I don't know how we're going to survive.
And not only that, we still have our other podcast that we do about The Resident. Resident's still in process of airing. It airs until December 7th. We will go into a hiatus, but so we're busy.
I know. It's just crazy. Anyway, I'll see you guys next week. See you guys in a couple of days. Talk to y'all later. Bye.